I was like 11 and I got called the N-word.
Age 11.
And that's fucking tiring. I don't want to talk about this shit all the time.
Just took my breath away a bit.
Hey, I'm Myles Smith and I'm in great company. I went to my ginger friend Ed's house.
Who's that?
Ed Sheeran.
When you're hanging with Ed Sheeran, are you thinking, this is wild?
Yeah, absolutely, bro. Every time.
When I did my run, right, the song that I had the entire time was Stargazing, right? I had that was the one playing all the time as I was running because it got me through it, and that for me gives me so many emotions. I find writing music helps you with these emotions.
Music for me has always been my way of communicating how I'm feeling, my emotions, and me starting music sort of starting when my dad left. That's when it all started.
I interviewed Brad Pitt, and before I went in, I was in my head thinking, okay, it's Brad Pitt. He's probably going to go for a high. He's going to go for like a high five. He's going to go for like a. You know that one where you sort of go high five, but you grip each other's thumbs and you pull into each other. And probably because of my ADHD, I laser focus into that. So I walk into the room and I went in my head, fucking, that's Brad Pitt. Like, and I went up to him. I went up to him to give him the high five, and he put his fist out, and I completely panicked and grabbed it and went, doorknob. And he went, cool, man. I was like, oh, fuck, this is not good.
The funniest part of this story is I've never heard someone describe a dap like a high five where you grab each other's thumbs. Stop it. That is wild. We are from different backgrounds. Like, fuck me. A high five where you grab each other's thumbs. I'm crying.
I love that's what you took out of it.
That's the funniest shit ever.
What do you like with first impressions? Do you get awkward?
I'm really weird in social situations.
Are you?
Like sometimes
I don't think you are at all.
I'm much better one-to-one than I am in new groups. I like mask a lot. Like half the time I'm stressing.
Really?
Yeah. I've always got PJ, my day-to-day manager, like with me like all times. Like he's gone from like day-to-day manager to just like life, like my life person. But yeah, if I walk into certain situations, like I find it like incredibly like stressful in new situations. But I put myself out there way too much to the point that it's like I overdo it so that I can't be anxious. Cause I'm just like, yeah.
It's exposing yourself to it.
Yeah.
Wait, so just explain that. It's like a social anxiety?
Yeah, I get crazy social anxiety, but I like hide it really well.
Really?
Yeah.
I had terrible social anxiety in my 20s. It was really strange, and I don't know why I got it. I think I know why I got it. I got it because I was being someone I wasn't a lot of the time, and it got so bad that I never went for one-on-one lunches. I couldn't.
Wow.
I was much better in groups. I couldn't do intimate sessions unless it was with a stranger. If it was with a stranger, I found it really comfortable. But if it was one of my friends, I couldn't do it. So actually, I became really lonely because I couldn't go and see any of my friends, and only in group situations I could then like talk about. I could be like loud and because I would mask actually what I was actually feeling.
That's so incredible.
And that's interesting how you find one-on-ones.
Yeah.
Why? Because one-on-ones is more intimate. So
yeah, which I find
that's more exposing.
I find it the opposite. I feel like in groups, I don't know what I should be doing. So like if I'm in groups, I'm like, should I be talking right now? Should I not be talking? Am I talking too much? Like, should I just be standing here? That joke wasn't funny, but should I laugh because everyone else is laughing? Like, I'm constantly thinking like, how do I seem normal within this group? Whereas one-to-one, I'm very like, if I'm uncomfortable, I'm happy to say to someone like, okay, I'm super like anxious at the moment. Like I'll just get it out the start from the gates. But in a group, I'm just like, I'll just go with the flow, but the flow is like not a flow. It's like me reading every single thing going on.
I find that so amazing when musicians say this because so many people are feeling the same way and feeling that awkward. I mean, I actually generally believe that the majority of us have some slight bit of social anxiety, and whether that's because of social media or whatever it is, it's amplified it, but I think we do. And when you see people who their job is to go on stage in front of thousands and thousands of people and be this entertainer, but actually they also feel those awkward moments. That
Mhm.
is so powerful for these people listening.
Yeah, it's weird. On stage, I feel because of the songs that I put out and I think the community that I've built, I feel like we're all fucking weirdos. So it's like when we're in those rooms, it's like we're all thinking the same thing. It's like we don't know how to act. Like you don't know how to be an audience member. I don't know how to be a singer. Let's just have fun. I strongly believe, like as an artist, I shouldn't sing at people. I should be singing with people, and that's like the sort of philosophy of our shows. Like we don't want to perform at people. We want it to be a thing that we're all involved in, and like throughout the show, we make a real intentional effort to involve people. And yeah, that's why I think for me being on stage, it just feels like a community thing that we're all figuring it out. And you know, sometimes I have a cry on stage. Sometimes my ADHD will
Love
take
that.
over and I'll stop a song mid-show just to point out the fact I like someone's cap. Like they're so wacky sometimes. But you know, I think where was we? Like Denver or somewhere. I I just had an urge to just walk like around the crowd and ask people questions about their life because I was bored. I was like, I'm actually like so bored right now because I've had the longest day ever and I've not spoken to anyone. So I was like, I'm going to speak to someone right now. And I just jumped off stage, just walked through the crowd, started having a conversation with random people. And it's like, I can, and
Yeah, you
people
can.
know me for me. So yeah.
Miles, I like you may not want to go here, and if you don't, just tell me to F off, right?
Mhm.
You know, my parents divorced when I was 8,
Mm.
and I sort of struggled with that a lot,
Mhm.
right? I struggled with it a lot because I didn't like it, I just hated it. I hated it. And then throughout my life, I think a lot of I do therapy as well, right?
Let's go.
Yeah, let's go, man. It's the greatest thing in the
Yeah.
world. And I had anxieties and all these different things, and I think a lot of it stems from childhood.
Mhm.
How old were you when your dad left?
So they got divorced around 7, 8 years
Same
old.
as me,
It's
yeah.
pretty similar, but it was like a stretch. Like so between like 8 and 11 was a separation. It was very chaotic. Probably stuff I won't go into,
Sure.
but it wasn't like the traditional we fell out of love, like cool. It was messy.
You don't even need to
and
go
took
there.
a
I get it.
while. So yeah, so between 8 and 11 was like the separation period, and then by 11, I've not seen him since I was 11.
He's never reached out?
Many a times tried to, but not in like not in a genuine way. My dad's a complex person, and I really hope he's in a good space, and I really hope he's grown and done all the healing he needs to do. And the last time he tried contact was probably like 13, 14 years old. But like, I'm truly not angry at the situation or mad. I'm just like I have my life, you have yours, and I hope you're a better person than you was. Sort of vibe.
How do you, if someone's listening now and adores you, right?
Mhm.
Because I think what you got to, whether you like it or not, Miles, you're sort of people's heroes now, really. And people look up to you as a musician, as an artist,
Ah.
as 100% they do. Like no, your music, for example, when I did my run, right,
Mhm.
the song that I had the entire time was Stargazing, right? I had that was the one playing all the time as I was running because it got me through it. And that for me gives me so many emotions now when I hear it for so many amazing reasons. And for other people around the world, your music does that for them. So someone's sitting there thinking, oh my God, that story's similar to me. You know, my mum left, or my dad left, or my parents divorced. What would you say to them?
I'd say one is not your fault. That took me so long to like,
Really?
so long. I remember like when it first happened, I was like, is it because I was born? Then you get to your teen stage of like just being like mad, like what is it like? Why could they not love each other enough to love me enough? Like
Yeah.
you go through. I'm sure you went through similar, where it's like you just kick yourself every single day.
Sometimes I thought, I was like, well, why do you have me? If you,
Yeah.
like, why do you have me?
Yeah,
Why do you have me if
100%.
you don't want to be together?
100%, 100%. I think, and it's hard when you're young to be able to get to this level of like rationale, but just going like, your parents are also kids having kids, and that doesn't mean that they handle things the right way. It doesn't mean that you aren't entitled to feel the way that you do, but try not to like place so much of your own value into a divorce,
Yeah.
because I did that for so long.
Oh man, same. I did that for so
yeah.
long.
And when you realize everyone's just a twat and we're figuring this shit out, it becomes a lot lighter. And I didn't start getting into headspace until I was like in my sort of late teens, but Yeah, I think when you realize that they're not like, I'm 26 now and I still feel like a fucking fetus. Do you know what I mean?
I
And
know, man.
yeah.
I'm 36. I still feel the same. I don't know when we grow up, man.
Yeah, yeah.
I got to a really scary moment in life where I suddenly realized, like, shit, everyone's guessing.
Yeah, yeah.
Tell me about your mum. She sounds amazing.
Oh, she's the best. Yeah, she's the best. I love her the most in this world. She annoys me the most in this world. She's like the extreme of everything, and she's like the most loving person, the most like intelligent person. Like I said, the most annoying and frustrating person. But also my mother. And I really try to be and emulate sort of the person that she is, which is just like all loving, all caring, non-judgmental, and just a real just has a real big heart, and she really cares about people. And she was unfortunate in that she lost her mum quite early on in life, and was sort of estranged from her family. So like her whole thing's about being able to choose her own family, and that's something that I think I've inherited and adopted as well. And so we're just big believers in finding people who are like us, and making them family.
What does she do well bringing you up, do you think?
She did so much well, like I was a kid with not a lot of confidence, and she made sure that every day I left for school, I was confident in who I was. She was the person that if I felt I wasn't enough, she'd make me feel like I was enough. She was a person who, if I felt like I was doing too well or becoming arrogant, she'd tell me, "You're being an idiot." Do you know what I mean? Like, that's not how I raised you. She was always just a really leveling and grounding person, and
Wow.
just such a phenomenal human being. And she was like a mum through example as well, rather than just teach me lessons. Like, she would live the things that she taught, and I thought that was really incredible. And yeah, just someone as well who's been through so much. Like, she's been through a horrendous amount, um like to the point in which like not many human beings would probably be around for what she's been through in life. And she still has such a big smile, and she still is the exact same person. And I think that's the part that inspires me so much about her. She is like just a formidable force that I'm like, how the fuck are you still like you? Like, you should be so angry at the world, or so annoyed at the world, or so mad at life, but you're not. And that's why I try to like always come back to like, however I'm feeling, like I'm still in a really good spot.
How does she make you feel confident? What was the thing she used to say?
I, I I've always had confidence issues, like from young, and I think it's part of a parent leaving. Like we talked about earlier, I think you suddenly start to look inwards and go, "It must be me in some capacity." Like, I remember in school, I wasn't the coolest. I definitely wasn't the most attractive in school. Like, I had the most sporty forehead, and I went from like really skinny to like really large, like frequently, and never balanced out in between. And she would always like she'd always just remind me about what's important, and that's the person I was. And I think from young, I was able through her to understand it's the person you are, like not what you look like, not what you do as a living, not what you do as a job. It's the person you are, and to find value in everyone. Like,
Yes.
one of the earliest examples she gave me, like, we had like a bin man who like came along sort of like once a week, and she'd always make conversation and etc. And one of my cousins was like, "Oh, why are you always talking to the bin man or whatever?" And she like pulled us aside, and she was like, "I never want to hear that come from your mouth." She was like, "Whether someone's doing the bins, or whether someone's the fucking Prime Minister of England or whatever, everyone has a value and a purpose, and everyone has more behind it." And it just so happened, like 2 months or 3 months down the line, when we was moving house, this bin guy also had a removals company, and came over and did all of our removals for free or whatever. And it was such like a small thing back then, but to see it play out in real time, that like someone's profession does not matter. Like, I'm a musician, like that doesn't matter. I'm no more important than doctors or nurses or social workers, who I must say probably work a lot harder than me and a lot more hours than me, and it's not seen. And so it's like I always get asked a question in interviews, like, how do you stay so grounded, and how come you're such a nice guy? My theory is we should be asking dickheads why they're dickheads, not good people why they're good people. And that's sort of like
Because that's
how
a
my
harder
mum.
question to ask.
Yeah.
It's easy to ask why you're kind.
Yeah.
It's harder to ask why you're a dickhead.
100%. And there's many dickheads. And I think we should be looking at them and going, "Why are you a dickhead?" Not Miles, why are you a nice guy? Because I think we should all be we should all be nice people is a lot easier.
You know, you wrote My First Heartbreak, which is about your dad.
Mm-hmm.
It's just, it's a beautiful way of processing emotions.
Ah, thank you so much.
It's such a great song.
Thank you. Yeah, no, it was a labor of love. It took a couple years to put out. It was a song that I wrote, 2 years ago now, and it's the only song that's taken me so long to release. And I think it was just because it was two things. I wasn't ready to, I think, come to grips with the fact that, okay, this is going into the world. And then I watched this Kid Cudi documentary, right? I love music documentaries.
Same, I
and in
love
this documentary, he was basically saying that he only realized like the gravity of what it meant to release personal stuff when he walked into an interview first time and they start asking him about all the fucked up shit in his life. And he was like, how do you know all of this? And he was like, fuck, it's my music. And he was like, he didn't know that when you put out music, it gives people sort of like the license to then ask about it. And so I was like, fuck, I don't want to put out a record that gives people a license to ask about it and I'm not ready to even talk about it myself. And so I think for me, I wanted to wait until I was like in a position to be happy to talk about it.
Yeah, it's like bearing your soul for people to question.
Yeah.
Ask anything.
Yeah, it's so strange. It's so weird that like your life, which is this thing that you keep really private, is just like a point of conversation. And it's different. Like here it's in a meaningful context, but there'll be sometimes like you'll be on a red carpet and they'll be like, oh, so your dad left. And you'll be like, sick. Sick. Cool. Like, what do you want from this?
I'm wearing Gucci, actually.
Or like on like a fucking radio, they'll be like, oh, what do you have for breakfast? And you'd be like, I don't know, granola. Oh, and your dad left. And we're like, sick, we're doing this. So it's that shit I've had to get accustomed to.
How do you navigate that?
I'm still figuring out. Sometimes I'll just it's tough. It's really tough.
Can I ask them one more thing? What happened to make you feel ready to release the song?
It was a mix of getting to that point. I had loads of conversations with family and friends, just because there's real life repercussions that come with everything, right? And you always got to be prepared. But I went to my ginger friend Ed's house, and
Who's that?
Ed Sheeran. I hate it. Still feels really cunty. Like when you're like, so I was with Ed, and we were just talking about music, and it was I was at his house, and fuck me, and we were playing loads of my music, and I was just playing him through stuff I was excited about or really liked, and we got to that record, and he was like, wow, this is like really good, and sort of like quite emotional, and it was like, this like has to be in the world. And I sort of explained the background of it, etc. And he really helped reshift my mind in that, like going from a point of like, this song's for me, about me, mine, to this song has a place in the world and it could help a lot of people. And I hadn't really seen music through that lens, although I've seen it like at my live shows when people come to see it live, like even just putting a song into the world and just being like, hey, I hope this helps, like was a real nice way of reframing my mind and really helped me put it out.
What was there one thing that he said to you that you were just like, oh yeah, I can see it?
Yeah, no, for me, he was talking about his own sort of catalogue and times that in his sort of like music career, he'd done the same thing. And for me, it was just seeing that sort of like symmetry and like sort of where he started to sort of where I am now and being able to just go like, wow, like, okay, this music stuff is yours and it's about you and it's your journey and your story, but you've also brought so many people on the way and so many people like resonate with you and so many people have a home with you, like add to it. And it was
because of the type of music that you do, and because you're black, right? You say that typically people think that you shouldn't be singing that music.
Yeah, which is fucking wild.
Which is wild, right?
Yeah.
And I've heard Ed Sheeran talk about when he was doing his music at the beginning, he was like, well, you're a ginger white guy. You shouldn't be creating that type of music.
100%.
So there's an interesting connection there, right?
Gingers are black. I'm telling you. You've seen it as well, right? Gingers are black. I'm telling you.
I've seen this.
Yeah, no, it's crazy that we still use boxes to this day.
Wild, isn't it?
But you know, going back to the sociology student in me, it's just so for some humans it overwhelms their mind to think that we could exist in outside of boxes. You know, it's whether it be, like I said, your gender identity, your sexuality, your race or religion, people are like, wait, that doesn't fit in the boxes that have been prescribed. What the fuck is this? And
Is that because for humans it's easier to digest when we're in boxes?
absolutely, but it also is just a means of how we've always controlled the narrative and controlled the world, I think, and not from like this big brain sort of like I have conspiracies about the world thing, but just in a way of like it's easier to be able to, I think, for some people to comprehend, digest, and move forward by prescribing things a box.
It's so right. It's lazy to put people in boxes,
Oh,
right?
it's so lazy.
When you're hanging with Ed Sheeran, are you thinking, this is wild?
Yeah, absolutely, bro. Every time. No, the first couple times for sure. The first couple times, I was like it was like we're talking and having this out of body experience. I'm like, that's fucking Ed Sheeran. I'm like, that is fucking Ed Sheeran. And then like the first time, like, you know, because we wrote songs together, not like together to put out, but just in general, sort of like music dating, you do it. And
How does that work? Explain that to me. So
like
what
when you
happens?
meet like a new friend in music, you're like, let's write a song, you know. It's probably like how uni kids go, like, let's shag, I don't know. But it's sort of how you bond. And yeah, so
Do you say like, right, I'll do the melody, and you can do the lyrics.
You can strum on my guitar, Ed.
Yeah.
You can strum on my fucking guitar, yes. But yeah, but even in those moments when like he's singing in a room in front of you, I'm like, that's Ed Sheeran. And it's like, it's really weird, but like, because I'm sure you're the same, but at the start, like, you get really starstruck by everyone,
Yeah,
you know, like even the producer that you see off camera that was that one time on like BBC radio, and you're like, oh my God. And then you go to this part where you're just really nonchalant, and you're just like, oh, everyone's human. But then there's every once in a while you meet someone and you're like, this is fucking wild, and Ed was one of them.
What struggles did you face growing up?
Oh, fuck me, what didn't I
Let's
face?
go into it, baby.
I mean, you know, like, I think, you know, off the bat, sort of dad not being about was a bit difficult. I think that really was the first instance of feeling different. Sort of going to school and everyone's like, Father's Day, and I'm like, what the fuck is that? You know, and that was like really tough, and having to understand that. But you know, I think for me that was probably the first instance, like I said, of feeling different, and really coming to grips with it, and learning how to sort of, I guess, grow up a lot quicker. Sort of when you have a single parent, and you know, my mum's got 3 kids, me, one brother and a sister, and she's pulled apart, sort of trying to support and help us grow. It's like, oh, you're sort of getting home, and you're cooking dinner at like, you know, like 9 years old for yourself, and you're walking yourself to and from school at that age, and you're sort of trying to figure out life without having that another parental figure in the picture, and that was tough. But you know, there was also racism growing up, you know, and it wasn't as sort of abrupt and immediate as being called the N-word or stuff like that in passing, though that did happen in my first ever visit to Cornwall. That was crazy. I was like 11 and I got called the N-word. I was like, shit, this is weird.
Are you serious?
Yeah, that was nuts.
What
yeah.
the hell?
Cornwall freaks me the fuck out. I've got friends in Cornwall now, but for a while I was like, I'm not going to Cornwall.
Age 11.
Yeah, that was weird. That was weird.
Just how do you react to that? So who, a stranger on the street?
No, it was a school trip. We went down. I forgot what the hell we were doing in Cornwall. But it was in like a cafe, and we went in and we were all lining up for like fucking muffins or donuts or whatever the hell it was at the time. And I remember this woman just like I was first in the queue, and she'd always go to the person behind me. Always goes to the person behind me. And I'm standing there, and I'm like, what is going on? Then my teacher was like, he's been waiting, can he be served? She was like, we don't serve his type round here. And I was like, what? I was like, what? I was like, I get them a little chubby, but come on. And
That just took my breath away a bit.
Yeah. And then he was like, what do you mean by that? And he was like, N-words. And I was like, great, sick, awesome. And that was like one of my first experiences of like overt racism. But growing up, man, like,
What did your teacher do?
we left the shop immediately. But even then, you know, again, didn't know how to handle it because it wasn't as much in the public awareness or what they say or what they do. But yeah, strange.
Well, it's more. I mean, what a insecure, foolish, terrible person
Yeah,
to say something so horrific to a child.
yeah, definitely, definitely. But again, it wasn't something that was spoken as much about then, and like it's inherently wrong, yes, but and I'm not excusing it by any means, but it again goes back to that educative piece about what people know and why people think the way that they think, and what we can do to challenge those beliefs and assumptions, and you know, um, I won't even go into ontologies and epistemologies and all of that rubbish
You can
about
go into anything,
it's
honestly.
it's a whole shebang of
Is it really?
theory, and it's long, but it's like what we
Top
know,
line.
and how we see the world. Those two things and how they're formed and etc. And there's a lot that we could do to challenge people's epistemologies and ontologies and what we value as knowledge and etc. But it wasn't around back then. Those conversations didn't really start coming into public discourse, and they did in some capacity, but like true public discourse with support until sort of like the last 10 years. And even now there's still so much work to do. But growing up, it would be like going into a shop and being followed around by security, or every time you sort of pass the police in London being stopped and searched, or just a whole lot of rubbish. So dealing with that on top of sort of like not having a father around was pretty difficult.
I chatted to a friend of mine who's black, and he said to me that growing up, he went to predominantly white school, and he said growing up, wherever he went, he just felt awkward. Just felt awkward.
Yeah.
And I said, really? And he said, wherever I went, I felt awkward.
Yeah.
Because there was none of my friends looked like me, and I was a young kid, and it was just not fun, and I thought people were looking at me, and I didn't know what to do, and his dad also wasn't around. And he said it was terrible. And now for him, what it manifested into, and I see it on him occasionally, which is where he will make jokes and use humor to sort of get past that and get past sort of comments that people have made or things that have been said to him about his color of his skin.
Yeah.
And he now, just tries to use humor the whole time to sort of defend it.
Everyone's got a coping mechanism, and I think hopefully when it's a hard one, because you're always stuck between, is it my responsibility to teach someone, or is it for them to learn themselves that this isn't okay? And I find myself having that conversation all the time. And the education is out there, books are out there. Like you could type in race on YouTube and be presented with 50,000 1-hour YouTube videos teaching you on race and identity politics. And this isn't specific to race. It happens with disabilities. It happens in sexual orientation and gender identity. It's like, it gets to a point where, and they call it a dual burden of like, not only am I being impacted by this, is now I now have the responsibility to teach people about why it's wrong. And that's fucking tiring.
Ooh, that is tiring.
It's like when you go to a workplace, right, and it's Black History Month and there's one black colleague, it's like everyone turns around and goes, we know who's planning Black History Month. And it's like, what the fuck? That's fucking tiring. And
it's almost backhanded racism in a sort of weird way.
And it's tiring, it's like whenever there's an issue of I don't know, maybe gender identity or an issue of sexuality, and everyone turns to their gay friend and goes, yeah, what do you think? And it's like I'm just having a good fucking day.
I'm just being me.
I don't want to talk about this shit all the time. And sometimes humor could just sort of like palm it off to the side. But, for me now, it's like I care when it has a tangible impact, and when we see it institutionalized, and when we see it have a real block or barrier to people's progress. But if it's just on the street or in passing, like, I do not have the capacity or care enough.
No.
But if it's stopping people from progressing, having opportunities, or being able to grow, then I'm going to be annoyed.
It's a great answer. Looking back at you as that kid when you were in that shop in Cornwall, does it make you angry or does it make you sad?
It makes me sad. It doesn't deserve my anger,
Yeah.
It makes me sad. However, I've been to Cornwall many a time since, and it's not happened, which has also shown me there's been progress, and it seems so small and so nuanced, but it's honestly really weird. It took me a while to go back to Cornwall. That shit was really weird.
PTSD from it.
Yeah. In a sense. but you know, the world is getting better. Fucking slowly, Jesus, and every day it feels like we're one button away from this shit ending.
Dude, I'm so excited that we're doing this. I'm so freaking excited. Have you done a podcast before?
I've done one with Zach Sang. I don't know. Do I say competitors on here? Is that
Yeah, you can say
competitor?
that.
Yeah,
You can say that.
yeah, really cool. But yeah, this is I'm new to this. But when I got told it's with you, I was so happy.
Man, because your schedule at the moment is so wild. It's like all over the place everywhere, isn't it? It's just the craziest thing in the world.
Yeah, it's mad. I mean, I landed from I went New Zealand to LA and then LA to here all within 3 days. So I woke up like 3 this morning. I'm still like trying to figure out the world.
Wait, so you went to New Zealand first?
Yeah.
How long does that take to get there?
So we did at the end of the Australia tour. So it was 17 hours there. I was there about a week and a half. And I flew to LA to do a TV show, then flew here. So I've been back in the UK about a day.
Was the TV show American Idol?
Yeah, it was.
The final of American Idol.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. It's pretty cool.
What the hell, man?
Yeah, it's well weird, isn't it?
Dude, it's unbelievable.
It's for me, it's like it doesn't feel quite real, like because things are moving so quickly, you know, like probably for like the last 2 years it's just been non-stop. So like nothing's really like sunk in, and then like I'll go home and mates are like, "You're on American Idol." I'm like, "Oh yeah, I was."
Do you think that's the way to do it though? You staying, because in these situations it's quite hard to stay grounded, right? When you're like not grounded in like a strange way, but it's just a lot that's going on.
Yeah.
And it's a lot of performing. It's a lot of like this, and this, and actually staying quite blasé about it may be a good thing.
100%. I think if you stop and you start to like process it all, you just get filled with anxiety and get overwhelmed really quickly. Like I remember when I started sort of like finding success in the music industry, I like would look at my schedule and it would just freak me out because I'm like, oh my God, I know what I'm doing to the day, to the hour for the next 6 months. And that would like really like scare me because I'd be like, I have no control over my life. I don't know what I'm doing. I can't plan breaks. I can't plan holidays. And that would become really overwhelming. And so now I live like day to day and I just like, it comes and it comes.
That's a great way to do it.
Yeah.
So you don't look forward to anything. You just basically wake up and you go, okay, fine, I'm here today.
Yeah.
Whatever tomorrow brings, I'm going to be doing that as well.
Yeah. Otherwise, it's way too much. Because right now, my schedule goes all the way into 2027 and I don't want to know. Like, you know, for me, it's kind of scary. So I have to just live it day to day.
It goes all the way until 2027.
Yeah. Yeah.
You're like it's like a really popular restaurant.
Yeah.
It's like the booking system. Like that is, so wait, hang on. It's booked out until then?
I would say like it's held. All my holds are in. You know, like
so give me a rough schedule. Like what does that look like?
I wish I could because there would be that was cheeky. There'd be way too much information and way too many surprises I stumble into. But it looks hectic. You know, it's everything from touring to music releases to you know, promotional opportunities to just like life stuff. Like I now have to think like, okay, my mum's birthday's here. I need to like safeguard it and keep it free and do all these things. But like in the process, like you end up missing friends' birthdays or family funerals or not being able to be there for the important things, and that could sometimes really suck. But it's also like it's such a balance because it's like you want to do this thing and you've been dreaming of doing this thing since you was like 10 years old, and now you're doing it. And it's like, yeah, it's such like a two-sided blade where it's like, this is the thing that I love, but it also means I have to miss out on a lot of like life as well.
Yeah, that's always happens. I think with any success, there has to come sacrifice, right? I've worked out that life basically is it's basically one big roll of sacrifice. Like once you get one thing, you have to sacrifice another. That could be social life or family life or I don't know, health or whatever it is. And when you're being that successful, it's quite hard to balance everything.
Yeah.
Who gave you that advice about not living, about living day to day?
It was a mix between my mum and my therapist.
Really?
Yeah. I've since young, I've always been like so meticulous with like planning and organization to the point where like it could be over the top. And like when I went to university or something I loved because I love being able to plan and execute and organize and blah, blah, blah. And then it gets to a point in your life where you have your first relationship. And I remember like being with my first girlfriend and I was like, I can't plan and I can't organize and manage like every single circumstance that goes on. And part of that's because I'm neurodivergent and I used to get like really stressed out. Whereas like learning how to balance and navigate emotions of yourself and other people, and that was like something that came to me quite late in life. And so all of those things really started to take a toll, where like I used to become anxiety filled by the fact I couldn't control every inevitability. And I think
Yeah.
part of that comes with childhood trauma, part of that comes with relationships.
Yeah.
And so it got to a point where when the music thing kicked off and my mum saw it really early on, she was like, you look stressed and you look overwhelmed. You need to stop thinking you could control everything, because music's another thing, like a relationship or like your emotions, that you can't control, and it's going to take you on a journey, and just let that journey be. And my therapist sort of said the same thing in a similar vein.
I'm a bit of a control freak as well, and it's dude, it's the worst when, especially in careers where you can't control it, right? That's why most entrepreneurs, like that control, because they know what they're doing, they know what they're doing day to day, they understand it. Those things. You have your new EP, A Minute, A Moment. Come on, everything, dude. I feel like everything you write is just feels like it could be a hit. Feels like it is. It feels like it's a hit. What's the story behind the name?
A Minute, A Moment. It all comes from a story. It was all about how people come and go into your life for different reasons and for different points, right? So she'd say like some people are here for a minute, and they might just be a brief encounter that you learn something from. Some people might be around for a few months to a few years and really help you develop and change and grow as a person. But no matter in what interval they enter your life, they all have importance, and just to really cherish those moments. And so me writing this is all just been about exploring those different things in my life, whether people have been here for a short while or a longer while, and trying to tell the story of how those relationships have impacted me, or how certain situations have impacted me. And so I did A Minute, which was A Minute, which was the first EP, and A Moment, which is this EP, which just talks a little bit more about those moments and trying to understand them and portray them musically.
You got given your first guitar at what age?
11. Yeah, 11, 10 or 11, between the two ages. Yeah.
Who taught you to play it?
Me. Yeah. My mum I'd tried football, basketball, trampolining, cadets, what's the little like territorial armies, all that shit. I tried it all, and she was sick of it. Like, we didn't have much money, so when she was paying for me to do these clubs, it was like this was a real stretch on the household, and like it would be felt, like it would go from like cooked meals to we're getting fucking Iceland oven pizza, like you know what I mean, like but she always wanted to find something that I loved and was interested in, and whether I think she did that for two reasons. One, because I think when a divorce happens that young, you feel like this responsibility to give your child the best life, but two, because she genuinely just wanted me to find what I was about, and I was shit at everything. And
doesn't feel like it.
No, I was, trust me.
It doesn't feel like it.
Trust me, anything that wasn't academic and was a hobby, terrible, mate.
Because I don't think a lot of people know this, is that you started a business.
Yeah.
After university.
Yeah.
And then you said, okay, I'm not going to go and do this. Yeah. I'm now going to go and do music.
Yeah.
That feels like playing your hand at things is you're pretty good at it.
If it's a book or if it's a guitar, I'm great. If it requires footwork, speed, agility, strength, get fucked. So I can't do it.
What was the business?
It was operational and strategic development, basically, and delivered as a consultancy package.
Really?
to help with sort of like medium to large enterprises, and basically understand their business, help grow, and then help make them more efficient, but by way of changing culture and changing policy within them.
I'm in. That's unbelievable.
My business partner's still going. I can link you up. Yeah, she's amazing. Yeah.
Because I find that the amazing moment for you is like you have this, you entrepreneurial, and then you start
pivot.
You pivot.
Yeah.
And pivoting at that age. It's a wild, because that age, they call it like the lost years. You don't really know. So everyone's scrabbling around, especially in our current climate, to find any sort of job. So you have security.
Yeah.
Here it is.
Yeah.
And then you go, no, and you start posting things on social media.
I think it was such a privilege being able to get to a point where, like, don't get me wrong, I wasn't fucking a millionaire, but like I was very comfy for my age, 23, earning from consultancy is like I was doing okay. And it was a privilege of going, wait, okay, so I have my own apartment. I have a steady and stable income, which is above my peers. Like, I'm good. So now what I got to really look at is, am I like satisfied and am I fulfilled? And I think being able to go, money and comfort does not bring fulfillment at 23 was the biggest privilege ever.
How on earth do you know that?
Because I was working that job and I was like, this is shit. Like I was like, I'm making money, I'm living in an apartment, I've got a car that I wanted, but do I feel like I could do this forever? Absolutely not. And I could have like moved it to a place where it became passive income and done all of that stuff, but I couldn't see that for myself as like that's my purpose, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Man, that's such great self-awareness. That is insane.
That was my mum. We actually had that conversation because the first time I had that conversation myself was before university. And I was like, do I want to go to university or do I want to do music? And my mum was like, I'll support you doing either. But I strongly recommend you go to university just so that you have something to fall back on if it doesn't work. But if you want to do music, lean in, do it full. And then I actually went to my mum and had the conversation with her before I quit everything. And I said, this is the position I'm in. And she was like, I've been waiting for you to get to this point.
What year is this?
This was 2022/3, somewhere in that bracket. Yeah.
We're in 2025.
Yeah.
You're going on tour with Ed Sheeran.
Yeah.
You get 25 million streams, maybe more a month on Spotify.
Yeah.
You got Rising Star at the Brit Awards.
Yeah, silly, innit? Is this the intro that I missed?
This is it. This is it, baby. Man.
Yeah, about 2 years ago, yeah.
That is crazy growth. Like it's wild. You put a song out. You did a cover for the Neighborhood.
Yeah.
The Neighborhood, right? And then on social media, Jared Leto shared it.
It's
crazy
crazy.
moment. And from there, it's like seems to be just sky rolling. And I when I first heard your song, Stargazing, right, which is probably maybe the one that people most know you for at the moment. There's just something just different about it. There is. Like when you write a song like that and you feel, did you feel it? You're like, no, this feels good.
Yeah. I mean, music for me is probably the one time that I feel truly like creative and free from like, but I don't know type A, type B, but I know people use type A people, type B people. I don't understand it, but I think type A is like super like detail oriented and shit, right? Music's the only time that I don't feel type A, and so I could just be like purely creative. And I remember that song when we wrote it, I was in Malibu for the first time, so I'd had like loads of online success, and I just signed my record deal in the January. Like before that, I think I built myself up to like 8 or 9 million monthly listeners, like independent, and it was really cool. But it was like so hard to manage. Like it was just me and my manager at the time, and it was impossible. So we needed a label who saw our vision and etc. But the first thing I did, I was like, well, I've never stayed in a fucking mansion before. So booked a huge like 5-story mansion in LA Hills, flew out my brother and my best friends, got the label to pay for it. I was like, this is sick. Swimming pool, jacuzzi, like it was nuts. And I was like, I feel like this shit right now. So me, Pete and Jesse then booked another Airbnb. Why not? Just signed in Malibu. And we wrote about 20 or 30 songs that week. And then towards the end of the camp, we were like going like mad because like, have you been to Malibu? I'm not sure. There's no one there. It's beautiful, but there's no one. So it's just us, like we're just like messes. Like we've just been eating junk food and drinking and just like like rock star living. And we were like, let's just write something just to like finish off this week. Let's not think about it. Let's just have fun. And like within like 15-20 minutes, we wrote Stargazing. But
I just want to say, I just like. I think the reason why people say that you're so nice and all these things is because you literally are. You are so nice. Your energy is amazing, and I've been so excited for this one. And weirdly, I don't know why, but feel like immensely proud. Like I think that's what your fans probably think of you as well. I think they feel very proud of you because yeah, it's just it's rare when you really want to root for someone, and I feel like everyone wants to root for you.
Thank you
Man,
so much.
we like to end with 8 quick fire questions. Answer really quick. You ready? Saying or phrase that makes you smile or cheers you up.
Oh, get lit. Why did I pick that?
Let's go.
That's crazy.
Just grab the thumb.
Yeah.
What scares you most about yourself?
My workaholism.
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 I know you. Best compliment anyone's ever given you.
You're a beautiful person. I love that one. That one feels really genuine when it's said in like a really nice tone.
When was the last time you cried?
I mean, emotionally, when my brother came out at Hammersmith Apollo and gave a speech. Physically, when I was puking on myself from food poisoning in Toronto about a few weeks ago.
Sick. Love both of those. Something you can't let go of.
Something I can't let go of. Pretty much everything my mum's told me in life. Yeah.
Guilty pleasure.
I got a lot. I got way too many. Do you know what? It's like it's One Direction, and it's not really guilty pleasure, but like they're fucking sick, man. They're fucking great.
It's unbelievable.
It pisses me off how good they are.
What makes you beautiful is unbelievable song.
Bruv, it's annoying.
Mate.
It's annoying.
Oh, it's unbelievable.
Yeah.
What turns you off?
Like toes. I hate gammy toes.
What turns you on?
Good toe. I'm joking. Good food. I'm a big foodie.
Favorite cuisine? What is it then, quickly?
Seafood.
Yeah.
Anything seafood.
Oh
yeah.
my God. What do you like most about yourself?
Ooh. I don't actually know. Hopefully I'm a nice guy.
And bonus for me, your favorite lyric you ever written?
You don't have to be so strong when you're with me.
Let's go.
Yeah.
Everybody, let's go!
Thank you.
No.